Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angryprepper. So, today's video we're going to talk about is martial law coming. Now, the only reason why I'm doing this video is because, well, look at all the bullshit that's going on. Well, the only reason why I'm doing this video is because look at Australia. Australia is using their military to implement martial laws in certain areas in Sydney, Australia, which is seemingly the poor areas of Sydney. So, with that, guys, reading the articles, it seems that they're implementing this because they have a few hundred cases that arose in the last couple of weeks. So, you would have thought they had like thousands of cases or tens of thousands of cases. They had a couple of hundred. And so with that, I guess because they don't want it to get out of hand, they implement the military. Here's the problem with the military. You're using a federal government entity to control people and their behavior. Because COVID is on the rise, you figure, well, let me implement the military so that we can keep these people in check. Because that's exactly what it is. You're not using the military for any other thing. You're not using them for fucking hugs and kisses. You're using them to fucking, lay the law. Now, the most important fact of all of this is that people have to realize this is Australia. That's one. Two, they're unarmed. And three, they're under the police guidance, if you will. So police are letting them know what they can and cannot do. Now, seemingly, 5 million people, were mandated to stay home, wear a mask, and get tested weekly. Now, I don't know, I couldn't find anything else on the testing weekly, but I would assume to imagine that's a shit show. Now, I don't know how you're going to mandate people that you just told to stay home to then go out and get tested. I know that they're working on these home kits, guys, these home testing kits for COVID, which is dangerous because if you guys saw Songbird, what did they do in Songbird? They tested daily at home. So a weekly testing kit at home is bad, guys, because this means that they're looking to do a little more than just lock us down for a short period of time. This looks like that they're gearing up to lock us down for a longer period of time, which is we all know it's a bad idea. And it's obviously peeling away at our civil liberties when you start doing shit like that. So starting last Monday or this Monday coming up, 300 Army personnel are going to be knocking on people's doors to make sure that the infected is home. So the military is going to get a heads up. The military and police are going to get a heads up of who's infected. And these people are going to knock door to door to make sure that those people are quarantining. Again, guys, another overreach. So now, granted, listen, guys, people who are infected, people who are not sick are going to stay home. They're not going to be gallivanting with a headache and a fever and a cough. They're just not. Unless they have to go out and do some shit like shopping, food shopping, they're not going to be gallivanting in the street. If you feel like shit, you automatically want to stay in bed. You want to stay home. You don't want to fucking go out and do whatever the fuck you think you're going to do when you're sick or what they think you're going to do when you're sick. But the military knocking on your door to make sure you're home is bullshit. And again, guys, it's the next step into locking us down permanently. Because what are they going to do if you're not home? What repercussions are people going to get for not being home? Guys, if Australia is doing this is not to say that America will, but it's just an idea for us to have in the back of our heads that this could happen. Because so much more has happened in, for example, New York City that I didn't think would happen at the very least this year. I mean, listen, we saw the passports being used and shit like that, but I didn't see them dropping the hammer they dropped earlier this week in New York. So now everything is on the table in pertaining to throwing our freedoms in the garbage can. So the military and police are looking to keep the streets or the area compliant. That's a nicer way of saying forced. Compliant. Oh, we're going to make sure these people comply. Yeah, we're going to force these people to listen to us. That's what it means. Now, interestingly enough, reading this article, they blame this current outbreak that Australia is going through on one guy. They said one cab driver they made sure, guys, to say this. One cab driver who was unvaccinated and unmasked. They made it a point to throw that unvaccinated part in there. So now they're blaming the unvaccinated for spreading the next outbreaks. And that's in Australia, but they're doing it here because we see it all the time. Now, whether that's true or not, this is where you start creating division and you start recruiting people to be on your side. Because there are a lot of people, like Charles Barkley a couple of weeks ago, and probably so many other celebrities, calling the unvaccinated assholes. There was a mayor, I forgot what city, but I'll put it now, who called the constituents in his city that were unvaccinated assholes. He called them unvaccinated assholes, to be exact. So, guys, again, pitting us against one another. And this is getting out of control. Listen, you know how out of control this is getting? There was a judge who who's making a criminal, which at this point it doesn't matter what he did, but the simple fact that this kid, for example, was selling drugs. He has to go to court now. For his probational hearing, or for him to be put on probation, from my understanding, the judge is forcing him to get the vaccine. This kid doesn't want the vaccine. He wants nothing to do with it. But because the judge is figuring, well, he's a criminal, and he sold drugs, I'm going to make him take the vaccine. And that's complete bullshit, because now the judge is overstepping. He's overstepping his authority big time. And the lawyer of this kid was in the courtroom with his mouth open like, how the fuck did that judge just say that? But nonetheless, guys, people are overstepping their boundaries all over the place. Australia is case in point. Now, they can hide behind everything by calling it a state of emergency. So whether the state of emergency is a legit, hurricane, tornado kind of deal, or pandemic, they can hide behind that and do what the fuck they want. Australia, Germany, Italy, France, New York City are clearly doing what the fuck they want and not listening to anyone. Now, interestingly enough, guys, in Australia, 20% of the population is vaccinated. 20%. That's huge. That means 80% of the population does not want the vaccine. But the Prime Minister of Australia is saying that if they can get to 70%, they'll lift a lot of restrictions. But what happens when you get to 70%, guys? We're seeing it here in New York. We're seeing it in a lot of bigger cities. When they get to the number they want, or close to the number they want, they start putting restrictions on other people to get the vaccine. So even if they hit their 70%, they are still going to mandate restrictions on the remaining people who are not vaccinated. And they're going to try their hardest, right? And so, guys, it's not about the 70% that they threw at us from the beginning. They want all of us vaccinated. And the fact that you want all of us vaccinated for something that has a 99.9% survival rate, something is oddly wrong. Now, in regards to the vaccine, one of the lawmakers there said, until those numbers rise substantially, we will continue to be in lockdown and practice safety measures against COVID. So I find that, again, guys, another authoritarian thought process. You also have, again, mayors that are overstepping their boundaries, governors, prime ministers, world leaders overstepping their boundaries. Something is not right here. Now, interestingly enough, guys, Queensland has been put on alert for a mysterious new case of COVID they have there. Now, guys, full disclosure, COVID is real. So I know a lot of you are still beating the drum that COVID's not real. COVID is absolutely real. And the variants that are popping up are real. But the current variants that they are beating in our heads right now, I'm not concerned with. But I am concerned with new variants doing more damage. But this lends to the virus being man-made. Because if the virus was natural and it mutated, it should have gotten weaker, especially as many times as it mutated. But now that it's mutating into stronger, more down the line, deadlier viruses, what the fuck? So now why are we going at each other's necks when we should be going after the Chinese for setting this shit off? The Chinese should be paying for all damages done during COVID for all over the world, which I know, guys, that's not realistic because it would bankrupt them and it'd be virtually impossible to do. But anyway, it's just a thought. So, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook. You know what? Just follow me on all the shit below. And please, if you don't mind, head over to the Angry Truth channel. Like and subscribe to that as well. All right, guys. Thank you for watching.